One player told me that this is starting to feel like the 2023 meltdown all over again when Philadelphia lost 5 of its last 6 games. And the team needs to use this week, which is currently this week, to figure things out and avoid a full-blown repeat. Is this panic mode for Philadelphia?
Jeremy Fowler's a great reporter.
He is great.
But that is a wild thing for a player to say. Is it not?
Yeah.
Yes.
To a reporter, on the record and not with your name, but that
we're freaking out.
Yeah, say it again.
We're freaking out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This might be when we collapsed 2 years ago. You're the Super Bowl champions. Like it wasn't like a word for word quote, and obviously he didn't put his name on it, but it was just like kind of everything else in the article was just normal and all of the things that we've talked about. Like, why should they pass more? Should they run more? What's going on with the health of the offensive line? And then there was this it might be 2023 all over again. It was jarring.
And just real quick to add to it, just for the audience, bottom of the roster guys churn every year. Like, you'd be surprised how few Eagles were actually on the team in 2023. I think it's like 28 of the 53. So my point is,
a lot of names you know.
Right. It's not always, but it's typically it's your good players that are there year after year. But go ahead.
Yeah. So just the fact that was out there is very weird, and I'd imagine like Nick Sirianni has to address it, Jalen Hurts has to address it. Like, that's not just like a one day and we move on from it.
So can I ask you, just because you're going down this road, do you think that was the point?
That's a great question. I don't feel comfortable answering. If Lane Johnson had said it, I'd be like, oh, that is an intention.
We don't know who said it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying hypothetically, like if Lane Johnson had said that, I'd be like, oh my God, like yes, he is sending a message. It could be a player who made a mistake. Because you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I shared way too much with a reporter. I didn't realize that he was going to write that up. I am thankful that he put my name on it, because that would be, if I did put my name on it, it would be a massive story. Like, that quote is one of the more surprising things I've seen any player say in the NFL this year. But then it made me think about, like, what is solvable here? What is solvable for Philadelphia? And I think most of us would agree, Saquon Barkley and the running game.
Well, go ahead. I don't know.
Well, I just want to point this out. Last year, Saquon Barkley had this historic season. Everyone knows that. But he was great at one thing in particular, and it was in conjunction with his offensive line. It took him a long time to ever get hit. Like, yards before contact. Mm-hmm. He was the best in the NFL, and he was the best in the NFL by far. This year, he is 37th. And so you start looking at it, and it's like, all right, well, Lane Johnson missed parts of 2 games with a stinger. Is Cam Jurgens not the same player? He had back surgery back in February. Obviously, Becton left.
They missed Becton.
He left it free agency. Dickerson, is he not the same player? He had meniscus surgery in August. Now he's got an ankle injury. It feels like if the offensive line gets healthy, they get back to that and Saquon gets better.
I don't think so. And that's why I wanted you to. I did what Wilds accuses me of doing to him, which is I saw
you peeked at the
and
sheet.
so I didn't want to. I didn't want to front run it.
That's why you do in trivia.
But
That's why I sit over here.
But but you also write in Sanskrit, so it doesn't matter.
I have trouble with my shorthand.
Is the offensive line as dominant as last year? Probably not.
Oh, definitely not.
Does that attribute for me even to most of Saquon's struggles? No. Because I think that everybody says all the time, man, being a running back in the NFL, it's just 20 car crashes a game. Like, and he had 480 touches. And in the last quarter century, there have been 8 guys who had 450 touches in a year, and the next year, every single one of them, other than LT, and if we can show the production, the production dropped immensely. Like, right. And now some of those guys, it's because they got hurt, but not all of them.
But that's a fact.
But that's a factor
right.
here. Listen, shout out to LaDainian Tomlinson, who's just an absolute monster. And by the way, everyone on this list was an absolute monster at various points in their career. But Saquon is on pace for like a smaller drop than most of these guys. Like, he's still on pace to have 1,000 yards this season. That's the
extra game too.
There's the extra game, sure.
But like when he caught that touchdown pass, he didn't look like a guy who didn't have burst.
Yeah,
you know,
but
my eye test doesn't tell me that he's like laboring.
I don't know that he's
year.
laboring, but last year he averaged one huge run a game, which is crazy. Like, that's a big number to have 18, 17 game season. He has zero. He has 0 20-plus yard runs. And, Brew, my concern is I don't think that Jalen is a refined enough passer for this team to hum offensively with a below-average running game. And Jalen's never had to play at any point in his professional career with a below-average running game, because Philly's always been able to run the ball, and that's to me really concerning.
Well, first of all, I share your concern about the gravity of that quote. Like, that is ridiculous. If you're 6 games into the season, first of all, we rarely see a team ever have the type of meltdown that the Eagles had 2 years ago. So for it to happen twice in 3 years to the same team, that's where Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, I would say a Saquon Barkley, Lane Johnson, like the leaders of this team need to step up and be like, hold up. Maybe this will wake them up. I don't think, whoever said it, I don't think it was like they're doing this as a wake-up call. Like, I can't wait till they see this quote. But I would think you just go to the team. If you're not a leader, maybe you go to one of the leaders and say something. But this should be a wake-up call where it's like, oh, we will not go back into what happened. If we lose games, fine. We lose games. But it's not going to be because we just go into this funk.
Like, what
and
a
we
drastic
can't play.
fall from we are one of the best Super Bowl teams ever to we might be collapsing 6 games in.
Right.
So that quote that Saquon had in it was an Eagles only podcast, or I don't know.
It was an offseason,
a podcast. Projected a lot of confidence from Saquon.
Yeah.
It didn't suggest a guy's like, you know what? My legs are a little tired. So the question I would have, and I think that graphic is mostly informative about the touches.
No,
but is Saquon the cause of the Eagles' struggle or the result of the Eagles' offensive struggling? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where it's like no one's like, you know what? Jalen Hurts threw the ball all the way into February and just lit up that Chiefs defense, and he had so many yards and was just like gunning the ball all over the place, lighting up the Chiefs, scored 40 some odd points, even though it was a lot of they had defensive scores too. But he played so well in the Super Bowl, maybe his arm is tired.
See, I got to
That's
tell
not
you,
what
buddy,
we're doing. We're saying it's on the offensive coordinator.
That moment right there, I don't mean to turn the conversation. That moment right there was kind of a real canary in the coal mine.
Why?
That the Eagles are in real trouble.
Why? Because
that's the first
Super Bowl?
time in 7 months your heart hasn't been in that bit. You
Okay,
have
the exact
lived.
yards.
He has
I didn't
lived
have the
off
exact
of.
yards.
Josh,
how many yards did he throw?
Like 230, buddy. Not that many.
Well, to the record,
see,
he didn't play the whole game.
His
he wasn't piling up the stats with 2:38 left in the game.
You can't exude confidence in it.
Cooking right now.
Because I think that I understand your point, which is correlation, causation, Saquon's struggles, but Wright, you said it. I don't know if it was Monday, whenever it was. What can they hang their hat on right now other than the tush push on either side of the ball? And that is wild to say about a team that had more guys on the top 100 list, that has all, that we think has this awesome all pros, this roster.
They dominated last year. They didn't squeak by last year.
Correct. And up until 12 days ago or whatever it was, they had lost once in a calendar year.
Yeah.
And so, and it was in a game their quarterback got hurt in. So it's just a weird, they are odd in that they always seem teetering on crisis for a team that just won a Super Bowl.
I think their stuff is fixable, though.
So do I.
I said earlier, Danny, give A.J. Dillon some more touches, and not as an indictment on Saquon, but just to get him a little rest and Dillon's been a good back in this league, so get more touches. The offensive line, I think, as it'll get healthier, it'll be better. You obviously have the great receivers, and Jalen is capable. I mean, I'm not going to doubt. I'm not saying he throws it like Joe Burrow, but he is obviously a very good quarterback, and that defense has some great players on it. So I do think it's fixable. They just can't be in a mental funk. If they can just stay even keeled like most teams, like every team, then they should be fine. Their talent will come to the front.
All right, moving on to the Packers and a fresh edition of Packed Stats. Packers headed to Arizona this weekend to take on the Cardinals. Packers defense came out of the gate on fire against the Lions week 1, but recently tied with the Cowboys, snuck past Flacco in the Bengals, which brings us to today's edition of Packed Stats.
Never leave home without my stats. Making stats cool again. Number one.
That's all.
The Packers are still waiting on Micah Parsons to make an impact. The stat on the left is 32.3, but the stat of the day is 32.1. That is the Packers' pressure percentage this year versus last year. They are identical. And this is the lowest pressure percentage of any team that Micah Parsons has been on in his entire career. So Micah has given any team he's been on a better pass rush than he's given this Packers team, and he's giving them the exact same pass rush as last year. Make it make sense.
That is very difficult for it to make sense, because to me this is a team that, aside from the Cowboys game, has been led by their defense.
Yes.
And I think that while Micah doesn't have the sack numbers.
That's why I didn't use sack numbers. The pressure percentage is just like, are you disrupting the play with the pass rush?
It's exactly right. And so this is where, and one of your favorite things, the eye test part of it, I guess my eye test has been lying to me, because I feel like the Packers up front have controlled these games. Now, maybe they were better at that last year than I gave them credit for. I don't know. But that is a shocking stat for me, because Brew, you've talked about it. Josh Jacobs hasn't been great. Like the offense.
Other than last week.
Right. I know Jordan Love has good numbers, but I don't think he's been great. To me, the best part of this Packers team this season for 5 of their 6 games has been the defense as a whole. So that is a shocking stat to me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what has happened. Like, the first 2 games of the season, they were great. And that was Washington and Detroit. And since then, obviously, they've, won and tied, won, tied, one, lost one. Even last week when they just haven't played that well. I expect them to break out of it. Micah had, 1.5 sacks in the first 2 games and hasn't had one in the last 3. Rashawn Gary had 4.5 sacks in the first 3 games and none since then. He was benefiting from Micah. So I expect them to come out of it. I think LaFleur's too good of a coach, and they're just too talented as a team. But something's gone wrong for them over these last few weeks.
This seems to be a flaw of the segment. When the stat is so good, you leave everyone befuddled. It's a fascinating stat. I mean, we're tiptoeing around it, but what you're kind of saying is Micah hasn't made an impact.
Correct.
Which doesn't feel like
it doesn't feel right, but that's been my thing with the Packers all year. They've been streaky. They've been inconsistent. Their defense has looked amazing for little stretches. Their offense has looked amazing for little stretches, which is why some people think they can win the Super Bowl if they can put it together at the same time.
Jerry Jones loves this stat, for the record.
I'm sure he does.
He's going to send us a note.
Yeah. And this has nothing to do with his ability to defend the run.
Yeah. All right, pack stat number 2.
All right, here we go. Making stats cool again. You guys scoffed at that.
The cool again part, maybe not. Interesting.
You know what? There was a point in the 80s where stats was
the coolest.
They ever cool?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool.
Pocket
Christian McCaffrey. We're not talking about him enough, but the stat is 444, as in his number of receiving yards this year. That is the 3rd most by any running back through 6 games since 2000.
This is interesting.
You've heard of the names of the other guys, Marshall Faulk and Alvin Kamara, in terms of this volume of receiving yards. He also leads all running backs by a large margin in targets this year. But when we talk about how have the Niners overcome all of their injuries, the running game hasn't been there, it has been because Christian McCaffrey has just simply been one of the best receivers in football this year.
Yeah, so he's on pace for 1,200 yards receiving, something like that, which is an insane number. And it's also why I think that I agree with this entirely. Mac Jones has thrown for a bunch of yards and played well in 2 of the games. Obviously played very poorly. It's from a turnover perspective. I mean, he threw 2 picks, fumbled 3 times. He didn't play well. And Purdy, I thought, was up and down when he was playing. The only constant on their offense has been CMC, and where I will give him extra credit, this is the first time ever I feel we have seen a real decline in Trent Williams, who had an argument that he actually was the best player on that team since he got there. He's the oldest everyday tackle in football, and you're seeing it this year. This guy's been remarkable. And I know his yards per carry are not what his career numbers, his career high, but I think that's more indicative of teams doing everything they can to stop him and just not being able to stop him.
Well, look, I'll give Kyle Shanahan credit because you mentioned his yards per carry, 3.1. So he's not running the ball well. I mean, they've always, even last year with Jordan Mason and others, they had a good run game without McCaffrey. He's not running it well, but Shanahan has been like, but we're going to get him the ball in the passing game and let him do his thing, and that'll help the offense. That's something they could do in Philly, too.
Exactly.
You know, like get Saquon the ball out in space as a receiver.
A few times.
Yeah, but not enough. I think he's had 3 passing targets in each of the last 2 games.
McCaffrey's a better receiver than Saquon.
He is, but Saquon could do more.
I don't know. Saquon had a
is.
CMC-esque impact. I mean, Bruce.
He did, but he is a better receiver than Saquon. But Saquon is a decent receiver out of the back.
I mean, I just remember preseason saying that, like, when we did all of the Niners and Purdy getting paid, to me it was like Christian McCaffrey is the most important running back in football. You can quibble on if he was the best, and Saquon and Henry were coming off better years, but in terms of an offense depending on a running back, he's like a running back in name only.
1 rushing touchdown this year.
Yeah,
but he's one of the best football players.
Listen, some people said that they expected him to be a top 3 back in the league this year, and it was scoffed at in the offseason.
I would not call him a top 3 back right now.
Really?
Bijan.
It's Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and then
him.
Taylor.
It's Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and him.
It's just an unconventional way to get there because he's doing it at
We're missing. Oh, well, Etienne has been great.
No, he's been better than
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh well,
There's another guy.
I mean, no, there are other really good running backs. I agree with Danny. I think that he has been the engine of the offense.
Okay. All right, last one.
Keep it up.
2 for 2. We ready?
Yeah.
Number 3. Here we go.
Number 3. Making stats cool again.
Thank you. We're back. You said it, not me. 29 and 100 is the stat here, as in 29 points per game with a passer rating over 100. That is Dak Prescott and Drew Brees, but to have a losing record. So think about this for a second. The Cowboys are letting Dak Prescott down in historic fashion. If you get your offense to score 29 points per game, and you are the reason for it, your passer rating is triple digits, but you have a losing record through 6 starts, it's only happened twice. To Drew Brees, first ballot Hall of Famer, and Dak Prescott. Cowboys are letting down a truly great season from Dak. A couple games now without CeeDee Lamb.
Dak is playing well. I didn't have him on Bruce ballot because of the record. They got a losing record. So, but he's playing great. I will just say this because passer rating isn't affected by this, but I will say because their defense is so bad, they are throwing it a lot, but you still got to have a high passer rating.
Yeah, he's scoring.
Yeah, he's scoring, and Pickens. Pickens is looking great.
He's going to get paid.
Great. Yeah, and he'll probably leave the Cowboys. This has turned out, because I don't know that they're going to be able to pay him, right? This has turned out to just be a showcase for George Pickens.
Oh, I bet they do pay him.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
really?
I think they do pay him.
I mean, they didn't pay Micah. No. Obviously, he's not getting Micah money, but he's probably going to ask for 30 plus.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been excellent.
And they're going to pay him that?
Ooh. And they think CD might be back this week. I was stone wrong about what the Cowboys would look like once CD got hurt. I thought that.
Correct.
I thought that his relationship with Dak and their ability to make things work was one of the coolest things that had happened up to this point in the year. But I thought his high ankle sprain was going to take them from this high-flying offense to a middling offense, because they have I know Brew, you privately love Javonte Williams, but a middling running back room, average-ish offensive line, and now you don't CeeDee Lamb, and the defense is terrible. Instead, Dak's playing, in my opinion, the best football of his career, and Pickens has been so good that and I'm not historically a big Pickens guy, but based on how he's played, when CD comes back, you feel like they are up there with any wide receiver duo in football.
Galaxy brain.
Pickens won't be better with CD.
Yeah.
Well, I think George Pickens having
Or
time of his
the
life.
other way. It'll be
When you're
interesting
number one.
to see.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting
When you're
to see
number
that
two,
dynamic.
I think
Yeah.
Will CD's.
No, CD's better than George
CD 's
Pickens.
No, I agree, but Pickens is.
Oh, they got
My
Jordan
only
around.
beef with this, Danny,
Yeah.
is I would take out Cowboys and I would put in Jerry Jones let Dak down in historic fashion. I understand this kind of contradicts the first stat about Micah Parsons, is he good? But I just feel like the Cowboys, had they just kept Micah, would be a legit team right now.
Yeah,
And to be clear, Micah Parsons is good. He just so far has not had the impact they thought he would. What would you say is the future for Bill Belichick in North Carolina?
Yeah, and I can see why people from the outside may be looking at it thinking there's no way he's happy coaching UNC after the type of performances that they put together over the last few weeks. But talking to people close to Belichick and people that are part of that football program, they tell me this is the happiest they've seen Bill in years, that he is energized by all of this. He sees it as a challenge. And probably the most important element of this in terms of the actual football program is he feels like the students are actually buying into what he's doing. They're being more physical in practice. He finds and observed that they're studying more just over the last few weeks. And he revealed in his press conference too, the buy-in has been the hard part, right? Because of so much transition for this entire program. But I think those students are slowly realizing that he knows a little something about football. And so I think the question of whether or not he's going to be there and if he's looking to get back in the NFL, I was told that is not the case. He is not looking to get bought out. He wants to be there, and he wants to be there for a long time.
How does that hit you, Coach? You know him well.
I feel like you do not believe anything I'm saying.
I certainly don't. I believe you believe what you're saying. I'm not sure I believe it.
Yeah, I don't want to be cynical. We went 14-2 back-to-back years and won back-to-back Super Bowls, and he wasn't happy during that time. So I'm not sure if the success that they've had there so far is making him as happy as he says. But this is a recruiting business, and so you need to project as positive vibes coming out of the building, especially in a college environment. And I'm sure that that's what this is about, is projecting those things. But there's been so many other stories that have come out of there that say maybe it's not as fun a place to be as
Yeah.
Whoever is projecting
Look,
this.
it's obvious. There's lots of distraction around it, right? It's all we talk about. We very rarely talk about the UNC football program. We talk about Bill's dating life. We talk about even some of the athletic reporting that we did recently, that there have been some agents that have accused Mike Lombardi, the general manager, of perhaps being too cocky when dealing with different players.
Michael Lombardi cocky? No way.
And I don't think anyone read that and went, that is the truth. And I'm sure Michael Lombardi would probably admit that he's guilty of that at times. I'm not sure where the cockiness is coming from, but he believes in something. And I do think that the noise is loud, but I've been told if you're around the program, if you're there every day, you'll get a sense that they are trying to build towards something.
I think one of the issues, though, is because recruiting is such a big part of this, when he came in, he had that cachet of being so successful in pro football and all the success, and this was going to be the 33rd team, and this was going to be a segue to pro football, and now they haven't had that success. So what do you go out and recruit with now? What do you go out and say, this is what you're going to get from the program? And it's not just the recruiting outside the building, it's the recruiting inside the building. All those kids are there. You've got to keep them. It's not like the NFL where they're under contract. They can leave at any time with the transfer portal. So I'd just be curious to see how happy all those kids are.
I disagree that the cachet wears off. It's Bill Belichick. How many people that have had connections, you've had a connection to Bill Belichick, who are still able to have some of the advantages of that, right? So I don't think anyone's ever going to look at Bill Belichick and go, he can't coach football.
No. That's what I'm saying. He's fantastic at that, and the kids will learn a lot, but it's hard. It's really hard, and if you're putting that type of effort and time into it and not seeing the results, I think there's going to be a lot of other places where the kids say, hey, maybe I'll go there and try to make my way.
I'll just say this. That first game, Michael Jordan was there. Lawrence Taylor was there. Mia Hamm was there. I was like, oh my God, North Carolina football, this is an event. And they scored on that opening drive, and I was like, oh, all right. And then nothing's been good since.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine Michael Jordan going to a game in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Went to watch a 15th place team. That's
so-
the cachet I think that could be leaving.
I saw Lawrence Taylor at MetLife Stadium. He's now back with the Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
He's all in on Jackson Dart.
Exactly.
He left UNC. No, you're right. Like, it's definitely faded. The excitement, the juice of it all. I mean, just remember that first game.
Yeah.
We all watched because we were all interested in we all had curiosity of, can this really work? They are putting out the messaging that is where they want to be, and they believe it. They
believe he's there next year. He's in it for the long haul.
They are telling recruits, they are telling these high school students that they're going to be here, and this is going to be a program that may not look like the program you want to be part of right now, but it's going to get better.
All right, let's get back to the NFL here with Dianna Russini in studio. We are 3 weeks away from the NFL trade deadline, but we've already seen a couple of trades, including an in-division quarterback trade with Joe Flacco going from the Browns to the Bengals. It's fascinating that there are multiple trades. It's fascinating that they've happened early already, Dianna, but what's the biggest name? Who are some of the biggest names you expect to get traded?
Yeah, so about 3 weeks out, right? Teams still trying to figure out who they are, what they are, right? Because you have some that know they're going to go to the postseason, but some, we need these next 3 weeks to figure it out if they're going to be buyers or sellers. But the big name right now is Trey Hendrickson. And that probably has more to do with the situation in Cincinnati and also actually the needs of other teams, right? So many teams right now are looking for pass rushers and would love to have Trey Hendrickson. And you look at the situation with Trey and Cincinnati and how that contract played out. If you guys recall, the night before he was going to report to training camp where veterans were supposed to show up, they had a deal in place. He thought he was going to show up, right, and the Bengals changed it in the last hour. And then that's when he stayed away from the team, and they were eventually able to strike up this deal. So I think from Trey Hendrickson's perspective, he is going to tell you till he's blue in the face. He is a Bengal. He wants to be there. He's just about winning and wanting to be around that team. But when you get into the business of it, you could see why maybe he probably would want a new chapter. And there are teams like the San Francisco 49ers who are calling and watching to see if this could perhaps be an opportunity for them.
Because he won't be a Bengal next year, based on how the contract went, right? They just added money to this year. He's a free agent. So this is like a mercenary deal. He would make any team in the NFL better. I'd imagine 15 teams might call.
Yeah, think about how many teams need him right now, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Howie's looking at that situation. And like I mentioned, John Lynch has been looking at it for the last few weeks. The Dallas Cowboys could use a Trey Hendrickson. Would they be able to do it? The Colts, they could be a team that would look to invest.
And I think if things go south, it's further south, Cincinnati should seriously consider it. You just wonder, will they move quick enough and actually be able to make a deal with somebody else? Because it makes sense. He's not going to be there.
You mean quick enough, like the business side of the Cincinnati Bengals?
Like,
can they get their ducks in a row fast enough?
Yeah, for Trey, it'd be great for him to be able to go some other place that's competitive. And for Cincinnati, it would make sense if they're completely out of it, which I don't think they feel they are at this point.
So, like you said, teams are figuring it out right now, who they are. Are they in it? Are they not? The expanded postseason makes a lot of more teams think that they can be in it. Who's a team or two that you think, if they're going to make a move, and if they do, they'd be a contender?
The team that I'm going to be surprised by that they're even in this position are the Colts.
The
right?
surprise team of the season.
Right? No one saw this coming.
I picked him to win the division. It's not
I knew someone at this table was going to claim it, right?
I don't want to mention
You're
it.
one of those.
Do we have proof of that?
It was on television. It was on television. AFC South.
But look at Chris Ballard right now, and he, first of all, Chris Ballard must be going up to Daniel Jones every day, like, thank you. Yeah. This offense has done such a great job of figuring out who they want to be, what they want to be, and Shane Steichen obviously has done a phenomenal coaching job. But Lou Anarumo is back to doing some of that magic on the defense, but he needs players. Otherwise, he's going to look like the Lou Anarumo we saw in Cincinnati the last year or two, right? So they could use a corner. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries. Look, you talk about interdivision trades like L'Jarius Sneed for the Titans. I think that would be a home run for the Colts. Obviously the Tennessee Titans are in a position where they're definitely picking up the phone right now. They're definitely one of the teams looking to sell.
Yeah, they're fourth in points allowed and 22nd against the pass, and the level of injuries that they've had in the secondary, it's rough. It's just so hard to go get corner help, even at the trade deadline, because everybody's so desperate to have them. But if they can do it, that'd be great.
Yeah, they've got about $6 million to spend in terms of the cap right now for finding help, which not really a great number either.
Getting the defense to catch up to the offense would be big and a very winnable division for them, and a wide open AFC as it stands. So Dallas made all the news with trading away Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And then Jerry said, but we're going to keep making trades.
Yeah.
They're going to make trades?
Yeah. They're going to trade for Micah Parsons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Breaking news. Put it on the bottom line.
If we could throw out all the rules, that's what they should do, right? Because you take a look at where they're struggling, and it's so obvious. If the Dallas Cowboys don't trade away Micah Parsons, they are an NFC Super Bowl contender. Like, they are that different of a team with Micah Parsons in that unit because of what we're seeing now and all the struggles that they're having. So what do they do? So I talked to someone from Dallas right before the show to just see, all right, is Jerry just playing the game, trying to keep the name? And the response was pretty basic of, if there's a trade available for us where we think we can make the team better, we're going to do it. We're going to go after it because we've got the picks. Historically, though, you look at Dallas, they made 2 trades in this offseason. They don't really do this, right? They're collecting these picks. They're not a type of team that's going to move quick on this to do it. I'm sure they'll make calls, they'll take calls, but this was also Jerry yelling out to everyone in the NFL, like, hey, give us a call. Maybe we'll strike a deal.
It'd just be interesting at what price they'd be willing to pay to get that help. And you know, they got the picks, and he's been touting the picks for a long time. And then if he goes in and has to give away both those picks for someone lesser than Micah Parsons, it's going to look really bad.
And almost everyone is lesser than Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
I was going to say, how do you even win that? Like,
and
no
he
matter
doesn't wanna
who he
look
trades
bad.
for, you're going to go,
Yeah.
Like, that's not really that great. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are another team I'm keeping an eye on.
Okay.
Because if you just look at the foundation of what they are about now, they all come from that Rams way of doing of who cares about them picks, right? Bleep them.
Yeah, bleep them picks.
Right, and they believe that they can win this now. Like, they're already in it all in at this point.
It's nice that they believe
right?
that.
Which look, they have a right to at this point.
Yeah.
So I think if you use some of that philosophy and apply it to this trade deadline, I don't think they're afraid to make moves. So they're a team I'm keeping an eye on.
I love that we're getting more trades. Like, I think it's good for sports. It's good for sports conversation. Like, the trade deadline in baseball was always a big thing. The trade deadline in basketball at times, or like signing and free agency in basketball is a big thing. Yeah. We need more trades in the NFL.
Yeah, I think you have younger general managers, right?
Yep.
I had someone say to me once, oh, it's because a lot of these GMs and head coaches played Madden their whole lives. So
That's why I like trades.
now that they're in these positions, they're just playing Madden again. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm sure ownership loves to hear that. But yeah, I just think the philosophy has changed. It's way more NBA now.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.